Good day to everyone. Today, we will be discussing about taking care of one's health. Stress is described as a feeling of being overwhelmed, worried, or run down. It is a mental and physical condition that people encounter when they have to adjust or to adapt to environmental events. Stress is a body's non-specific response to any demand, whether it is caused by or results in pleasant or unpleasant stimuli. It is essential to differentiate between the unpleasant or harmful variety of stress termed distress and which often connotes disease, and eustress which often connotes euphoria. Eustress is stress in daily life that has positive connotations such as marriage, promotion, baby, winning money, new friends, and graduation. While distress is stress in daily life that has negative connotations such as divorce, punishment, injury, negative feelings, financial problems, and work difficulties. During eustress and distress, the body undergoes virtually the same non-specific responses to the various positive or negative stimuli acting upon it. However, eustress causes much less damage than distress. This demonstrates conclusively how an individual accepts stress that determines ultimately whether the person can adapt successfully to change. Stressors are uncontrollable or unpredictable events that can alter our normal reaction to everyday events. Some examples are excessive workload demands, conflicting expectations, and insufficient resources, both internal and external. The stress response or reaction is a normal response to the demands and changes of life, both positive and negative. The response is individual, physiological, and necessary for survival. Stress can become problematic when they are habitually confronted with chronic stress. The effects are experienced in four key areas. Some of the physical symptoms of stress includes chest problems such as pain, heart palpitations, and heart disease. Aches and pains in the body including headache, back pains, and upset stomach. Problems with sleep such as waking up in the night and not being able to fall back asleep. High blood pressure, changes in appetite, and changes in sleep patterns. Emotional responses to stress includes the following: anxiety and depression symptoms, anger and outburst or rage, burnout and inability to focus, withdrawing socially and forgetfulness, increased irritability and restlessness. Mental signs include poor concentration, confusion, burnout and inability to focus. And behavioral signs include self-destructive behavior, self-neglect, aggression, compulsive behavior. The General Adaptation Stress Syndrome is a three-stage process that describes the physiological changes in the body goes through when under stress. These stages are alarm stage, resistance stage, and exhaustion stage. The alarm stage. This represents a mobilization of the body's defensive forces. The body is preparing for the fight or flight syndrome. This involves a number of hormones and chemicals excreted at high levels, as well as an increase in the heart rate, blood pressure, perspiration, respiration, and many more. The resistance stage. The body becomes adaptive to the challenges and even begins to resist it. The length of this stage of resistance is dependent upon the body's innate and stored adaptation energy reserves and upon intensity of the stressor. Just as any machine wears out even if it has been properly maintained, so do living organisms that sooner or later become the victim of this constant wear and tear. The acquired adaptation is lost if the individual is subject to still greater exposure to the stressor. The organism then enters into the third and final stage, the exhaustion stage. The body dies because it has used up its resources and adaptation energy. There are four dimensions of stress: cognitive dimension, affective dimension, behavioral dimension, and physical dimension. Cognitive dimension. The cognitive manifestations of stress had to do with our thinking and thought processes. If one's stress level is elevated and remains unchecked, Concentration, focus, organization, and clarity of thought can be compromised. Elevated stress levels can also affect one's ability to remember important details and to listen to others. Time management and organization can all suffer in the cognitive realm when stress increases. Affective dimension. Likewise, at the affective level, one's emotion can be affected by stress. Irritability, rapid mood swings, unpredictable anger, and sadness are all accentuated by the increased stress levels. Behavioral dimension. Increased level of stress can also result in behavioral changes like alcohol and substance use and abuse and absentee issues. It can also compromise our relationships with others. As stress increases, we become less capable of positive interactions with others. And physical dimension. Physically, high levels of stress have linked to the change in appetite and sleep patterns either increases or decreases, weight gain or loss, and other health issues like high blood pressure and ulcers. Stress can also impact exercise regimens that in turn can have dramatic impacts in our behavior, our emotions, and our cognitive functioning. Stress coping techniques. First, slow down. Stop. Breathe and tell yourself, this is hard and I will get through this one step at a time. During an unexpected event or crisis, we are faced with dealing with a new reality and takes time to incorporate what happened in our everyday lives. Identify steps you need to take first, write them down, and focus on each step one at a time. If you look at everything you have to do, you will become overwhelmed. Remember, you can only do one thing at one time and focus exclusively on that one thing. Organize and prioritize. Set priorities based on importance and deadlines. Make your to-do list. Listing on paper what you want to accomplish for the day is an effective way to remember things you need to do. After writing your tasks on a notepad, write them from the most important to the least. Put your to-do list somewhere where you can see it. Note your responsibilities. Avoid unnecessary tasks. When you're done writing your to-do list for the day or a week, try to analyze the less important tasks in terms of whether do you really need to do them. If so, then you may need to adjust your schedule for the day. Set realistic deadlines. When you're working on something and a deadline was set your own deadline ahead of the deadline. Don't try to rush yourself just to finish it earlier. Take everything one step at a time and don't set yourself up for failure. Set your break time. Working all day with no break is not fun. If you are already tired, take a break. There's nothing wrong with 10 to 15-minute break or quick nap. Drink coffee when you need or want to. Stretch when your body feels cramped. A rule of thumb: rest for 10 minutes after every hour of work. Put away distractions. A lot of things can distract us from doing our work. This includes camera phones, mobile devices, gadgets, and World Wide Web, especially Facebook and Twitter, and many more. How are you supposed to finish your work if you spend your time in these things? Put away the things that distract you. Don't check your inbox every minute. You can do this during your breaks from work or schedule time slots in your day to check. Once you learn to pay less attention to these things, getting the job done will be much easier. The key to productivity is good time management. Prioritizing is difficult, but it is also essential if you want to get things done. Aside from being more efficient and productive, it will also help reduce stress in your life. Learning how to prioritize is not an impossible task. You just have to determine what needs to be done and how much time you need to do it. Live a healthy life. Get enough rest and sleep. Sleep at least 6 hours and not more than 9 hours. If you are having a difficulty sleeping, listening to peaceful, slow music and or do progressive relaxation just before you go to sleep. Sleep is how our body heals and strengthens our immune system. Eat regularly and make healthy choices. Skipping meals, particularly breakfast, contributes to fatigue, mood swings, and poor concentration. Healthy choices maintain your blood sugars and therefore your energy and concentration. Practice relaxation and meditation. Go to your nurturing place and listen to guided relaxation tips. Time spent in meditation or prayer allows your mind and body to slow down and let go of the stress. Take a mental vacation in the midst of stress by relaxing your body, shutting your eyes, and visualizing yourself in your favorite vacation spot or quiet haven. Recognize and accept limits. Know your limits and when you need to let go. Some problems are beyond our control. If something cannot be changed, work at accepting it for what it is. Resist the urge to fix the unfixable or try to control the uncontrollable. Sometimes a mantra helps. It is what it is. I just need to accept it. For things within our control, remember, change takes time. If you are holding on and need to let go, write it in a journal. There are three solutions to every problem. Accept it, change it, or leave it. If you can't accept it, change it. If you can't change it, leave it. Seek social support. Find someone who listens and is accepting. You do not need advice, you need to be heard. Sharing our story is how we begin to accept whatever happened and integrate into our new reality. It may be that you just need to let go of your expectations of how things should be and talking about your feelings and beliefs as the beginnings of that process. And lastly, writing it down. Acknowledge to yourself what you are feeling. All feelings are normal, so accept whatever you are feeling. Once you recognize, name, and accept your feelings, you feel less out of control. You can then find a comfortable place to express your feelings, such as writing your journal. One of the most effective ways to reduce stress is journaling. It is writing down the detail about the feelings and thoughts related to stressful events. Journaling generally involves the practice of keeping a diary or journal that explores thoughts and feelings surrounding the events in your life. There are several different ways to do this. Journaling as a stress management and self-exploration tool works best when done consistently, but even occasionally, sporadic journaling can be stress relieving when practice is focused on gratitude and emotional processing. Journaling allows people to clarify their thoughts and feelings, thereby gaining valuable self-knowledge. It is also a good problem-solving tool. Oftentimes, one can hash out a problem and come up with the solutions more easily on a paper. Journalizing about traumatic events help one process them by fully exploring and releasing the emotions involved and by engaging both hemispheres of the brain in the process, allowing the experience to become fully integrated within one's mind. The need for self-care and compassion. Christine Wong pointed out the importance of self-care. These are: self-care prevents overload burnout. We've all been there. You push yourself to the point that you can't take anymore, so you just give up. Self-care helps you to avoid getting to that point. Self-care reduces the negative effects of stress. A small amount of stress can serve a purpose, but after a while, it just breaks down your mind and body. Taking care of yourself means keeping your stress from taking over so you can function at full capacity. Self-care helps you refocus. Walking away and come back. Taking a break, basically. Breaks are epitome of self-care, and studies show that they are great for helping you perform better. The following are the 6 ways to take better care of yourself. First, recognize signs of distress in your mood and behavior. Each of us has a tell that signifies we are at our breaking point. Yours might be feeling of excess fatigue or of frenzy. Perhaps it's not a feeling for you, but a type of behavior. You might have a case of the dropsies where you find that you are falling or breaking dishes right and left. This is a good chance to regroup and figure out what's causing these characteristic symptoms. Second, establish a balance between your personal needs and work or family related demands. It is one thing to recognize that you are stressed and another thing to do something about it. You will come back to your work related or caregiving tasks with a much fresher perspective if you have gotten a chance to take even a brief mental break. Even before you reach that point of feeling distress, schedule in that opportunity to rest, go for a walk, or just sit down and have a quiet moment to yourself without any distractions. Third, maintain a sense of humor. We often forget the role of humor as a stress buster. Being able to laugh, even if at your own situation, can help you put your life strains into perspective. You don't just have to laugh at yourself. Watching a TV sitcom or favorite comedy known to reduce guaranteed laughs will help not only your mood, but potentially some of those stress hormones that have been building up. Spend quality time with friends and family. Being with people outside of the work situation can help bring you back to reality and perhaps establish a mood restoring sense of normalcy. People who meet your emotional needs through their understanding and concerns help you, in turn, meet the needs of others. If nothing else, their presence can take some of the burden off of you and preoccupations, meeting your personal needs in important ways. Fifth, develop an alternative, self-absorbing but healthy activity. It's no wonder that politicians, who literally carry the burdens of the world on their shoulders, are often the very same people who work the hardest at their play. Even though they may take some ribbing as a result, leaders of major organizations of any kind schedule time into their lives for an emotional outlet. When you find a hobby that you are truly passionate about, you will be better to throw yourself into it than if you let your free time's diversion to chance. A self-absorbing activity that promotes your health has the added benefit of making you better able to withstand the stress of the work you do for others. And lastly, find a place to work or live that encourages a culture of self-care. The point is to encourage clinical training programs to promote a culture of self-care in which supervisors define wellness and help students identify ways to identify and encounter burnout. Some of the ways in which workplace, neighborhoods, and communities can encourage this culture is to schedule time for individuals to share extracurricular activities, celebrate each other's success, provide positive feedback, and find their own work-life balance. Developing self-compassion. There are three main ways to generate more compassion to yourself. First, be kind to yourself. Second, embrace your common humanity. Many times, when you criticize or judge yourself, you feel isolated. It seems as though you are the only one in the world who has that particular flaw. And yet, we are all imperfect. We all suffer. And so, we are all connected by our shared humanity. One of the wonderful outcomes of self-compassion is our enhanced sense of belonging, the feeling that we are all in this together. Be mindful. How would you know that you are suffering if you are repressing your pain, rationalizing it, and busy with problem solving? You must allow awareness of your pain to enter in. Being mindful is about noticing what is happening in the moment and having no judgment about it. Notice your hurt and just be with it, compassionately and with kindness. And note that trying to make the pain go away with self-compassion is about being with your suffering disappear. We will always have a pain. The more you resist your pain, perhaps by trying to make it go away, the more suffering you will experience.